Welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. In today's video, we will be going over the hardest challenges in Fortnite history. So I want everyone in the comment section to tell me what you think is the hardest challenge that you've ever done in Fortnite's history. I would say for about the top 5, that is solid for me, but the bottom 5, it's sort of up in the air. This is just my personal opinion. So my views may vary from yours, but I would say the top 5 are sort of solidified in Fortnite as some of the hardest challenges ever. So at my number 10 spot, I gave it to the Season 6 Week 1 Search Supply Llama Challenge. So back in Season 6, there were only 3 supply llamas around the map. And because everybody needed to get this challenge done, and I feel like for the first week of the season, so many people try to get all of their challenges done, and then later on, they sort of give up on them until the very end when they finish them up. I would say that's how most people do it. And challenges were a lot more popular back in Season 6 to the point where people would actually do them right away. So even if maybe you would have ran into a supply drop later in a game, in a typical game, in a typical week, maybe that supply drop would have already been opened by other people who are looking for them to complete this challenge. And then I would say part 2 for my number 10 spot, I just want to give some love to the not so great players out there, and that would be unlocking umbrellas in Season 2 and in Season 3. In those seasons, even for me, it was very difficult to get wins, and I feel like you needed a good squad around you in order to get them. Solos was way too hard for me back in the day, so I have to give some love to that one. At my number 9 spot, I have to give it to the hardest challenge from last season, which is Chapter 2 Season 2, the Location Domination Challenges, which was catch 7 weapons at Misty Meadows. There were a bunch of other hard location domination challenges like catch 100 fish at Slurpy Swamps, deal 10,000 damage to players at the agency, or eliminate 100 players or henchmen at Pleasant Park. But for me, this one was deceivingly easy. It's like, oh, catch 7 weapons at Misty Meadows. Wait, that's so easy. Why would this one even be a challenge? Especially compared to all the other challenges that you had to do. But I would say this is the most annoying challenge last season. The Slurpy Swamp one was tedious, but for this one, you couldn't fish at the fishing holes around Misty. There might have been 1 fishing hole per game that was close enough to Misty for it to count for this challenge. And at the end of the day, that 1 fishing hole most likely would only give you 1 weapon. So you had to fish non-fishing holes around Misty, and the weapons definitely didn't spawn in very often. I'm going to show you a picture from a Reddit post right here about this challenge, and a lot of people in the comments even said this one was harder than the Slurpy Swamp one. It was deceivingly easy, but it actually turned out to be a lot more tedious and hard than most people would even imagine. And I feel like the reason I hate this challenge so much, the Slurpy Swamp one, you could see the progress, even if it was slow. But for this one, it was so random. You might only get 1 or 2 weapons a game, then you have to drop there again and do it over and over again. I hate this challenge. It's one of the worst ever for me. At my number 8 spot, I gave it to the Season 7 Week 9 Challenge, complete time trials in an X4 Stormwing plane. After multiple deaths trying to complete this challenge, I truly contemplated just quitting Fortnite, giving up, doing something else with my life. And I feel like the pattern you'll see for these challenges is you think they're easy, but they're much more annoying than you first would have imagined. See, for this one, it seems easy, but I had to keep doing it over and over again. After multiple deaths, flying into the water, flying into the mountains, crashing, burning, I was finally able to complete this challenge. You guys are gonna have to tell me if you hated this one as much as I did. At my number 7 spot, I gave it to the Season 9 Challenge, which was the John Wicks Bounty Win a Match. And there's another pattern you guys can look out for these challenges and what made them so difficult. The rewards were free to obtain, and this is the reason why they were so difficult to get. Because they were free to obtain, so many people went after them to the point where they were almost impossible to obtain. And I go over so many Fortnite accounts, but I rarely see the John Wicks Bounty rewards, especially the back bling and glider. And the only way you were going to get those 2 things was by winning a match, and I never did it. And for this challenge, it's sort of like each and every game you go into, there's that big bad line, there's that big bad bad wolf sitting there in your game and you can't kill them. It's a squad of 4 amazing players trying to get this challenge done each and every game you hop in. So they are going to win and they might be done with it, but then the next game you have to face another squad like that, another unbeatable squad trying to obtain these free items. So I feel like this challenge was made so hard for very bad players or for players who just don't have friends to play with them. This one truly was one of the hardest challenges ever. At my number 6 spot, I had to give it to the Chapter 2 Season 3 Punch Card Challenge High Explosives. So if you guys don't know about this challenge, and I feel like a lot of people probably don't recognize how hard this one is, but you have to get 1,000 explosive kills. If the game mode High Explosives doesn't come out this season, this will be one of the hardest challenges in Fortnite's history. The problem with this challenge, grenades are all too rare even in Team Rumble, and RPGs don't spawn in Team Rumble as well. The only way I see someone finishing this challenge is by knocking players and finishing them with grenades, and you have to do that 1,000 times. So solos is out of the picture. Team Rumble is out of the picture. Solid Gold had RPGs, but as I'm recording this video, Solid Gold has been removed. So you have to get very lucky with a certain LTM out there to have RPGs or explosive weapons. That way you can get this challenge done. If more game modes like that don't come out, I don't think many people will finish this challenge. No one will. At my number 5 spot, I had to give it to the Season X Week 8 challenge. Deal any amount of fall damage to opponents. In Team Rumble, this challenge was essentially impossible because of glider redeploy. The lengths people went to finish this challenge is pretty funny, and I will be showing clips in the background. But people would sit in Team Rumble, they would go to the opposite side where people were AFK on the other team. They would build a structure for when they land and then edit that structure so they would take fall damage. I feel like you may get some fall damage here and there just by accident. You don't really try to do it all that often. But when you're really trying to do it for a challenge, it can be so annoying. And this was at the tail end of Season X, so you had to finish it pretty quickly. So the anxiety people felt trying to finish this challenge was at an all-time high because they only had a few more weeks to finish it. At my number 4 spot, I gave it to the Season 5 Week 8 challenge, Search Chests in Wailing Woods. We will be talking about another challenge. You guys probably already know what it is, but this challenge wasn't as big of a deal since you didn't need to finish it the same day it came out because there was no reward for finishing it that day, unlike another reward we'll talk about later. And also, chests were not 100% spawn rate. So if you drop in and you try to search a chest at Wailing Woods, you might have a perfect landing for a chest location, but then it's just not there. And by that point, if you land on one chest, you're most likely not going to be getting another chest since everyone around you is also trying to do this challenge. This is sort of one of those challenges you had to be there to really truly know how difficult it was. And it was week 8 of Season 5, so people were definitely trying to get this one done as quickly as possible. Since it was the third to last week of challenges, people had to finish it within like 3 or 4 weeks. At my number 3 spot, I had to give it to the Season 8 Week 2 challenge, deal damage to opponents with a pirate cannon. This challenge, ironically, compared to the others, became harder and harder the longer you waited to complete it. For certain challenges, especially the searching chest challenges, if you try to do it the same day, it's almost nearly impossible since everyone else around you is trying to get a limited amount of resources and you're lucky to even get one chest open. But for this one, everyone's landing on pirate cannons the first week of this challenge trying to complete it, so it actually becomes a lot easier if you do it the first day. Because for the first day of this challenge, it was basically a mosh pit of players using cannons for damage. But if you waited a few weeks for this challenge, players seemingly stopped using cannons altogether. And trust me, I was one of those players who didn't do it right away, and this was one of the hardest challenges ever. At my number 2 spot for one of the hardest challenges ever, and trust me guys, I know it's number 2, but there is a number 1 spot that is harder. Season 4 Week 7 challenge, Search Chests in Risky Reels. I was one of those players who tried to do this the first hour it came out, the first minute it came out, and this challenge unlocked the secret visitor skin for most people because this was the last challenge they had to complete. People may have forgotten, but there was an 100% chest spawn rate in this season. So again, even if you were lucky enough to drop on a chest, it might not be there. The clips for this challenge are pretty crazy to look at. There was probably 50 to 75 players landing at Risky Reel every single game for about 10 chests, I would say. I think it may have been a little bit less, but I'll say around 10 chests for 75 people. This one, again, you sort of had to be there. You had to be there early in order to understand how difficult this one was. It's one of those challenges that looks easy, but it's actually very difficult if you try to do it right away. But at my number 1 spot, and I'll stand by this, guys, I will stand by it for the rest of my life, is the Chapter 2 Season 3 punch card, the Lumberjack Challenge. So you have to destroy 100,000 trees in order to complete it. The challenge I can't scream about enough. I feel like people will realize it when this season is almost over, but at the end of the day, if there are no rewards for finishing the punch card, people really won't care about it. But I'm telling you, if someone finishes the punch card and there's a reward for it, and I think there is a strong possibility that there will be a reward for finishing the punch card, the Lumberjack Challenge will be one of those challenges that is all over Reddit, it's all over Twitter, it's all over YouTube. This challenge, let me say it right now, is the hardest in the game ever. I even made a 15-minute video about destroying trees for this challenge. It will not be finished by 99.99999999999% of Fortnite. I promise you guys, you will not finish this challenge. I probably won't even finish this challenge as well. I'm very excited to see someone who actually completes the whole punch card. I did have plans to do it, but I can't sit there for like 24 hours destroying trees. It's literally just mind-numbing to the point where I just can't do it. This is the hardest challenge in Fortnite by far. You guys are gonna have to tell me what you think. If you guys don't believe me that this is the hardest challenge, well, you're not gonna finish it. So there you go, guys. I mean, you can't prove me wrong for this one. You cannot. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you guys did, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn on those notifications as well. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.